Hi, in this video I would like to go over the difference between two different factoring techniques for general trinomials. The first one is called the AC method, and the second one is called the slide and divide. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the first one, the AC method. So before we get started, I want to remind you on the general trinomial form looks like this. We have ax squared plus bx plus c. So step one is we're going to find AC. So that is going to be 6 times negative 5, which is negative 30. Step two, you're going to find two numbers that multiply to negative 30 that add to positive 13. Typically, we make a nice little t-table over here. So on the left-hand side, we'll find all the numbers, two numbers that multiply to negative 30, and then in the right column, we'll determine what they sum to. Again, we're looking for the one that sums to positive 13. So we'll start with the easy one, so negative 1 and 30, and that would sum to 29. Now, that is definitely not 13, and there's really no reason to check positive 1 and negative 30 because all that's going to do is switch the sign to negative 29. And then we'll just continue with this. So let's try 6 and negative 5. Now that makes a positive 1. If I switch the signs, negative 6 and positive 5, I get negative 1. So we'll continue. Let's try negative 2 and 15. And when I add those together, I get positive 13. And we do have our winner. So step 3 is we're going to rewrite the 13x using the negative 2 and 15. So that would look like this. 6x squared, negative 2x plus 15x minus 5. And again, you can see that negative 2x plus 15x is 13x, so I'm really not changing the problem. Now step 4 is we factor by grouping. So I am going to group the first two and the last two together. I'm going to do that in parentheses. I'm going to match that middle sign. And then the next step is to factor out the GCF of each group. In the first group, they share a 2x in common. And that's going to leave you 3x minus 1 plus. And then in the second group, they both share a factor of 5. And that would leave us with 3x minus 1. And then I want to factor out what these two terms have in common, which happens to be the 3x minus 1. And that leaves me 2x plus 5. And now we're completely factored. And again, this is using the AC method. So let's take a look at the next method called slide and divide. A quick timeout. This is extremely important before starting the slide and divide method. When you have your general trinomial, it is very important that you do two things. One, you need to make sure that your a is positive. So if a is negative, you must factor out a negative 1. Second, if there's a GCF, meaning that a, b, and c have a common factor, you must also factor that out. Now step 1 in the slide and divide is to look at the first number, whatever that is, and you're going to slide that over to the whatever c is. And when you slide that over, it's actually creating a new trinomial. Looks like this. So we have x squared plus 13x, but now we have negative 30. This new trinomial will be factored exactly how you factor any trinomial with a coefficient of 1. We find two numbers that multiply to negative 30 and that they add to positive 13. Now we've actually already did that, but if you wanted to go through the list again, we tried negative 1 and 30, which was 29. We tried negative 2 and 15, was 13, and we found our winner. So these two numbers are the ones we're going to use. So because it's a trinomial with a leading coefficient of 1, we could put x and x, and then we just drop those two numbers in, so negative 2 and positive 15. So we've done the slide part. We factored the new trinomial. Now we do the divide part. What we're going to do is divide the two numbers by whatever a was, which for us was 6. Then you're going to simplify, which is going to give me x minus 1/3, and then x plus 5/2. Now the last step depends on whether we have denominators after reducing these two fractions. If you do have a denominator, all you're going to do is slide that number right back in front of the x. So we're going to take the 3 and slide that in over here. That's going to give me 3x minus 1, because now the 3 is gone, leaving just that 1. And then I'm going to slide this 2 over in front of the x, leaving me 2x plus 5. And that gets us the same factored form as the AC method. So now you see the difference between the AC method and the slide and divide method.